All right, it is crossover time on 95.7 The Game, and we're joined by Willard and FP Santangelo.
He's been in the zone.
Good to see you.
Except the last couple of segments about baseball and too many playoff teams.
Well, let's
and he's
get
been
into it.
old Steiny, but he's been phenomenal.
I just welcome back. Welcome back,
Thank
dude.
you.
Yeah. I heard about your trip off the top of the show, and it sounds like something you'll remember for the rest of your life.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Where'd you go, Modesto?
That's all.
I'm going to give you a one.
He went fancy. That's what he did.
Really?
Like
With his
you're-
rich friends,
You're
FP.
a big leaguer, and you'd have been like, okay,
Really?
I have a
Steiny.
buddy who got me onto an exclusive golf course.
You know
And
what
it was-
question? You know what question you didn't answer though? So you left with $29 in your wallet,
Right.
and you came back with 72.
Correct.
I assume that's gambling victories.
I won $100
Because
bet.
you said you didn't go to the ATM and you didn't
Correct.
spend $1. So out driving around in Radio Land, I'm like, so Steiny, where'd you get the $43?
Yeah, I won one bet
Got it.
for $100. A guy said I wasn't going to break 96 on this course, and I
Okay.
did. Something
Okay.
like that. So then I took an extra 100.
Good for you.
Here's all I'm saying is I don't believe that in general more playoff teams generate more interest in the game. Now, I think once we get a little later in the season, if there's 2 or 3 teams fighting for the last playoff spot, yeah, in those markets, there may be an uptick. But right now, there's nobody in Pittsburgh saying, well, we're in this thing and let's start going to games. I think they're saying we're going to go to games regardless because 500. And one last thing.
Go ahead.
I think that the more playoff teams we have, the more it diminishes regular seasons. And I think fans are like, they get that. And I think the NBA is example number one, because how many times do we say, God damn, the regular season just doesn't mean anything in the NBA?
So here would be my response. First of all, playoff fever does not happen in June, no matter what place you're in. So there's no playoff fever in the places where they're winning either. Milwaukee does not have playoff fever.
Okay.
So they're in first place, and they have a lot of wins. But what I kept wanting to say to you as you were going through this was, you're hitting off all the spots where you say it's not helping. So this extra wild card teams, it is not helping cities around America. And the thing I wanted to say back to you so badly is, how's it hurting?
I will tell you. I believe
You will not have data for your answer, I promise
No,
you.
and nor will
You'll
you. Nor will you.
Yes, I will.
How? What?
Because you are basically saying, and in fact, and I quote, the NBA is a joke and baseball's
is.
dying.
Yes.
Those are both opinions,
Right.
and one of them actually is a statement of fact that's provably false. Major League Baseball is financially absolutely crushing it, and inside the NBA on TNT is about to go away because a new network is willing to spend billions with an S in order to get the contract. My response to you, Steiny, is you are not wrong. You're expressing an opinion, but you're speaking for, it sounded like,
I'm speaking
the masses.
Well, what I'm saying is,
and I'd argue it's much more, you're more on an island than you think you are.
No, I disagree.
You sounded like someone who's just not into sports right now.
No.
That's what it sounded like to me.
well, and I'm representing a large percentage of sports fans.
And so are we. And so are we.
And it equals out. So that means
I disagree.
Okay, so we're going to get late in the season, and it's going to be, the Giants and 2 other teams going for this 6th spot, a game under 500. Great. There's some Giants fans may get a little excited. Cardinal fans may get a little excited.
Where's your evidence?
I'm saying if they're in it.
The Giants right now in the top half of baseball are actually year over year the highest attendance riser in all of MLB.
What I'm saying is I'm allowing for the fact that if the Giants are in it, yes, San Francisco will see an uptick in interest from their fans, as will the 2 or 3 other teams that they're fighting for the number 6 spot. What I'm saying is it comes at a cost during the entire regular season when fans have disinterest because they don't think the games are as meaningful as they were years ago.
And I think that's the spot where it's actually just your sports morality.
Well, I got a lot of people agreeing with me.
Well, of course, the text line's going to agree with everyone. We can go find...
They agree with you, too.
Exactly. So we can find the area codes that are agreeing with us if they want. You're not going to have any data for what you're saying. You don't like it. You don't like it.
how does a sixth wild card in Major League Baseball generate more interest?
You're not
in
answering my question. You're not proving that it's hurting. Your point.
I'm not trying to.
You are.
I'm trying to say
you are.
No, I'm trying to say that it's not work. Like, it doesn't work like that. But it is working. You cannot generate. You can't generate more interest in a regular season if everybody's acknowledging that games are less important.
But your entire premise was that it's hurting in some sort of a way, and it's not. There's no evidence. There's no evidence.
Well, we don't know that it's helping.
You and the text line and some buddies on the golf course.
But we don't know that it's helping.
Well, actually, there is data.
How? What?
The health of the game, both financially and attendance-wise.
The health of baseball right now. And that's because of the sixth wild card?
No, but my point is, your premise is that it's hurting, and you have no evidence. None. Well, you have none.
I know for a fact that anecdotally, I have so many more buddies who are not into the NBA, right. And we've talked about it forever.
Steiny, you're in your 50s.
Exactly.
So, of course, your buddies feel that way. But people don't like it when things change, and they always want it to be the way it used to be. I'm going to be 50 next year. I get it.
It's got nothing to do with that.
I think it's got everything to do with it.
You think there aren't 30-year-olds that say too many teams make the playoffs?
Do you think there aren't 30-year-olds saying the opposite?
Sure, and there are 50-year-olds saying both.
There are 30-year-olds who don't know any other way. Expansion is normalcy always through evolution. You're never going to put toothpaste back in the tube.
I'm sorry.
It's always going to grow.
I'm sorry. Saying more, if you allow more playoff teams, it does not create more interest.
So the play-in tournament is a failure. I would argue it is objectively.
I'm not talking about that game itself. I'm talking about the regular season.
But that's what you're talking about.
Once the Golden State Warriors knew that they were going to be the 10th seed, that's all they cared about. They got in. That's all. They weren't going for 9.
Now you're talking about the players. I'm talking about the fans.
Okay, how many Hawks? I'll say. What about the Hawks?
Well, I don't know what's going on in Atlanta, Steiny.
Nobody bought a ticket because the Hawks were fighting for the 9 spot.
You actually don't know that.
And
I don't know otherwise. But you're the one that's speaking in broad generalities about the whole country and how everyone hates this. And I think, and as I'm driving, I'm like, I think you just went on a golf tournament trip with your buddies who are all about the same age, and everybody was crowing about how sports sucks now.
Why?
And I'm just like, it doesn't.
Why in college basketball, when they finish a 24-game league schedule, and then they play a tournament that every team's allowed into so that one can shock the world, why do they play in front of empty arenas?
College basketball's dead.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with it.
And it's during the day.
My point is that more games does not generate more interest on its own.
You just gave me an example that for most conferences has been that way my whole life. Mm-hmm. So you can't make that some new thing and say it's not working. I'm not saying it's a new thing. Like college basketball, and you know this, its problems are based on the fact that no one can name any of the players. Like, nobody cares about college hoop anymore.
More games, more playoff teams does not generate more interest by itself.
And you can't prove that it does.
And you can't prove it does.
Well, the only data is in my favor, which is the growth of the game and the growth of
the dot's in my favor because I got a lot of people agreeing with me.
Okay, so you have 8 people on the text line agree with you and your golf buddies, and so now you have data. While I have the actual books of baseball and attendance figures that fly in the face of what you're saying. I don't know. Am I saying that's a game, set, match? No. I'd argue it is leaning in my favor.
It's part of the participation trophy era that a lot of people are not into.
And that's your sports morality and our age slot. I would argue.
Okay, well, that's still half the fans out there.
Take it from someone who has teenage kids who are massive sports fans in their house.
So it's a net zero.
Nobody says that stuff.
So if you generate 100 fans because their team's in it, and you lose 100 fans because they know the games don't mean anything,
they'd rather have
square zero.
No, you're not. They'll take the young fan over the old one every day of the week.
Well, I'm just saying you're still at a net zero.
No young fan has ever uttered the words, "Boy, the sport's watered down these days."
What are you kidding?
Nobody does that.
What are you talking about?
Steiny.
The NBA's not watered down?
I said no young fan says that.
I disagree.
Nobody
you would
in
talk about anecdotal. That's anecdotal. You don't know that.
I know it a lot better than you do.
You don't know that every
I'm living
teenager
with
thinks
those kids.
that.
They're over at my house.
So your 3 kids matter more than 8 people on the text line.
You're not even on social media. How would you
So your
know?
3 kids are more important than 8 people.
Let's put it this way.
Let's just compare what we said to each other.
If I'm sitting with you, I'm a hell of a lot more tapped into it than you are. That's what I'm saying.
What, because you have 3 teenage kids?
And because I'm more tapped in on social media, and not because of my 3 kids, because of all of their friends, because I use coach, because all of those things.
You're tapped in on social media, so all you see are the people on social media. You don't see the people who aren't on social media who are turned off by it.
I just told you I'm living my life in that. I'm around these people every day of my life, and you're not. It's not a criticism, dude. What are you talking about? It's just who we are. You spent 5 days on fancy Philly golf courses with people who are 55 to 65 white men. I'm not around that. That's not my daily movement. So I'm telling you what is likely in a sample size actually going on outside of what you're talking about.
And what you're dismissing is that there's a group of people that aren't on social media that you don't come in contact with, like I don't come in contact with teenagers who are turned off. So you're in contact with everybody.
No, I didn't say that.
You know every fan base.
Now you're saying I'm not in contact with 50-year-old white men, which is silly because it's what I am.
But what you're saying is you're in contact with more of a majority than I am.
If we want to get personal, I'm a little bit more, I would say, out in social circles than you are. That's the way we operate, and that's fine. That has nothing to do with anything. But my point is, I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I'm challenging what you're saying because you're the one who came out with a blanket statement. Nobody likes this. And I'm here to tell you you're wrong. Well, you're wrong, and you can't give any data.
And you can't give any for it.
I just did.
So, you're 3 kids, and because you're on social media, that has more power than the silent majority.
No, go back to what I said. You said the NBA is a joke.
It is.
And baseball's dying.
The regular season.
And then I gave you a bunch of metrics that totally disprove that. And you don't want to hear it. The fact that attendance is up, money's up, NBA contract leaves TNT to go to a new network for multi-billion dollars.
Okay, these 8 teams.
No, hold on, let me finish. And you think it's dying.
I'll let you finish if you let me finish.
How is it dying? Answer my question.
Because 5 of these so-called teams
that are in the... Come on.
Because 5 of these so-called teams that are in the race... Their attendance is in the bottom 10. Pittsburgh's not drawing.
And that's why, because of the wild card, Pittsburgh hasn't drawn.
That's my point.
How long has it been since Pittsburgh's drawn?
That's my point. They're not getting a boost by it either.
Well, it's June, Steiny.
Exactly.
You're talking about playoff fever on June 10th. 11th, sorry.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
That's what we're talking about.
But that's
nobody's
a faulty
going to
premise.
Well, you're not generating more interest right now.
Of course you're not.
Okay.
When has that ever been the case?
Does that come at a price?
No.
Yes, it does.
Such as
if everybody feels this way about the NBA, let's say.
Don't.
I'm not saying, forget everybody. If a lot of people feel that way, then you're taking away what you're getting.
A lot of people feel everything. If you want to just find people who agree with you, you're going to find it.
Okay,
but
so here's what you're dismissing.
No, I'm dismissing nothing.
Yes, you are.
But you are not able to give one provable metric to the statements that you've been making for the last 45 minutes.
I'm telling you,
a provable metric that suggests baseball's dying. Nobody likes this. NBA is a joke. Everybody hates more playoff teams.
Baseball.
Give me a provable metric.
Well, you think baseball right now is more popular than in the 80s?
It's growing. I was 5 in the 80s, Steiny.
Well, that's my point. Then don't talk from a point of reference that you have no idea about. I have a more vast knowledge of past times because I'm older.
So your point today is baseball's not what it was in 1980? That's your point?
No, my point is stop trying to snooker fans by saying we're going to dangle a carrot in front of you that that allows more teams into the playoffs, so you'll be interested. Are there going to be some?
I don't feel snookered. And
conference illegal.
I don't think a lot of people feel.
There's
snookered.
there's gonna be fans that maybe are If the Pittsburgh Pirates are in it. Yeah, they're going to have an uptick the last 2 weeks of the season.
The Pirates' attendance is up 8% this year. They got Skeens and Jones. They got.
Well, that's why.
Right.
Well, what I would say, Steiny, I was totally on your side when it first happened because we in Oakland, 102 wins. The next team was 500 if there was another wild card. Back in the day, there was only one wild card. So when this first came to fruition, the sixth team, I was like, no.
It's not fair.
But once you have that sixth team get to the World Series or win a World Series, and then your fan base, and more importantly, your clubhouse thinks if you just get in the dance, you have a chance to win, it lends credibility. In the NBA, has a play-in team won an NBA championship? No,
they've gone.
And until that happens, then who cares about the wild card and the other teams? But in baseball, it's happened. The wild card team has won the World Series. So now as a player and as a fan base, if it's September and my team's hot and we have a chance to go in because the Dodgers win 170 games, 107 games, and they never win it. So it does have credibility, Steiny, but what I want to say is, like, I was on your side when this first happened. Like, I say, water down baseball, this is terrible, but it's not true. Like, these cities, and more importantly, the players, they want that 6th seed. They want to get in because they know if they can, and they do, they can win a championship.
You listen to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM, and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I am not saying that a 6th seed can't make a run. Of course they can. The Giants won from a wild card.
Which lends interest, though.
It lends interest
now there's
late
credibility
in the season.
And those games are important too,
but that's not
the month or 2 months going into the end. They take those games. Is it the playoffs?
Who takes them?
The teams to qualify.
Well, I'm talking about the fans. So I'll give you I'll give you the fans of those 3 teams that are battling.
Okay.
I'm giving you those. What I'm saying is, over the course of the entire season, if you continue to water down and allow more and more teams to make the playoffs, nobody's interested in baseball right now. Nobody's interested.
Okay,
right.
June.
If he's going to take me literally, I'm going to be. But fewer people are into the NBA in November and December because it doesn't matter. Because they take 2 out of 3 teams, and because every veteran player in the league doesn't start playing until, again, don't take me literally, but. Like, it's about getting healthy for the playoffs.
But if Team A is playing Team B for the last wild card spot in Major League Baseball, you're telling me you're not watching
I'm telling you
they've glued to the TV.
That's right, for one night. For one night. But what do you do? What do you do about all the people who are not watching during the regular season because they've deemed
I don't think they're fans then. I don't think they're real fans.
Well, you still need their eyeballs.
Obviously, they don't.
Am I a fan of basketball?
Yes.
Okay, well, then why do I hate 20 teams have a chance to win it?
Because it's a change and you're not comfortable with it.
Right.
I don't hear this whole conversation. You've not convinced me with one word that there's a major cost.
Yeah.
What's the cost?
You haven't proven that it's an advantage.
And I feel that I have, but
How?
Because I keep telling you about the growth of the game and the growth of the money and the growth and the growth and the growth.
So baseball, right? So according to you, baseball's as healthy now as it's ever been.
Financially.
Oh, please, Mark. Come on.
Okay.
You got to get in the game there.
You're right. You're right. I got to pay more attention.
But every league has opened up.
So the success of a league is based on how much money the owners are making.
That's what they think.
Yeah, that's what his answer was.
Maybe that's why baseball's dying, because they don't care about that.
You still haven't given me a cost. What's the cost?
The cost is that people become less interested in your game. You'll never let me finish.
Because they don't.
Well,
they don't. Where's your evidence that people are less interested?
Away, Steiny. Where are those
You're not giving me any. That's you.
What about 50 people on the text line?
And the 50 who disagree with you, who come more?
Yeah.
I'm acknowledging both sides.
Well, but you're not.
Yes, I am.
Because you're saying there's a cost, and you're saying there's a downturn in these games, and there's not.
Please.
Look at the screen right there. There's last night's Giants game. It's a random Monday against a crap team. Place is full. What's the problem
First
here?
of all, it just turned summer. This is the first. Oh, so now you're going to dismiss the fact that
my kids are still in school.
This is the first weekday game where kids could go to games.
Giants attendance is up 18%.
Attendance is way
It's not because they're the sixth place team.
But again,
I don't know what place they're in with the wild card.
Well,
right now, half game or in it.
I don't look this early.
Yeah.
Right.
Nor do
and
I
my
care.
original premise was more teams do not equal more interest, more playoff. Like the Giants, as of right now, have not generated one more fan because somebody's saying, "Hey, they're in this thing."
Right,
I get it. I get it. I understand that.
But what I'm still not hearing from you is that you seem to think there's a cost.
Yeah.
You seem to think people are turned off and away from the game.
Some are.
Sure, and some aren't. Like more may be coming in than going out.
Well, I would argue
the money, the attendance, everything that is an actual metric that we can look at says that there is absolutely no cost to this. You can hate it, and that's fine. But the games themselves, the owners, the sport, the broadcast partners, not one of them are like, we got to do something about this watered down thing because we're losing people.
So you don't
here.
think load management in the NBA is a big deal?
It clearly hasn't been. People don't like it, but
Mark, why are they addressing it then?
What's the cost, Steiny?
The cost is that your league has taken a hit.
By the way, another faulty premise.
Because more and more fans are looking at NBA players saying they don't play.
When did I say anything about load management? I didn't say anything about load management.
My point is...
That's a completely different topic.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes,
the reason load management bothers a lot of people is because it goes hand in hand with these guys don't care.
I disagree. They want to see them play.
Well, of course they do. Why aren't they different? Why aren't they playing?
Well, but that's up to you. Got to ask them.
Well, I know why. Because the regular season doesn't matter like it used to.
That is a point. It is not the point.
Okay.
We also handle health completely differently now with the analytics of the body.
I'm not saying it's wrong to load manage. What I'm saying, so you don't think load management has hurt basketball?
Again, I think faulty premise.
Has load management taken a hit out of the NBA's reputation?
That's a big question.
Oh, Mark, why can't you just say yes?
Because it's not provable, Steiny. There's no metric that says everyone's leaving.
That's why Adam Silver didn't address it. Why is he addressing it if it's not a negative?
I didn't say it's not a problem. I said it's not proven that it's taking people away from the game. I think what's happening with this conversation is you maybe you didn't hear yourself the last hour. You spoke for everyone.
It's like when I said Judge is gutless and people believe
you spoke for everyone.
If you think load management has not hurt the NBA, I don't know what to tell you.
You spoke for everyone. You spoke for everyone.
That's not true.
Ask who.
That's not true. Guru has a person.
I listened the whole way in.
Yeah. Right. And what I'm saying is,
and said everybody's out on this.
You're backed into a corner now. So now you're gonna go literal Steiny because you know that load management is not good for the NBA.
Load management is not good for the NBA. That's not your question.
Let's end it there.
Let's not.
No, let's.
Actually, I wanted to end it with this. I brought cookies. Do you want one?
No.
You sound like you need one.
Not from you.
Okay. Good.
Willard, did you get the part where he said his East Coast friend said he was soft?
They're from Christie.
He said his East Coast friend said he was soft.
They're from Christie. Would you like one?
Of course.
No.
All right.
Christie, I got you.
Yeah, curmudgeon.